discuss. So for today, we are going to have an introductory class. We will not do much, but then we are going to familiarize ourselves with what is expected of us during our stay together this semester for Eco 101. Shortly, I will Can you hear me now?
We can hear you, ma.
Yes,
Okay,
ma, we can hear you, ma.
Okay. I said, for me, I always refer to Eco 101 as a refresher course. Why do I call it a refresher course? It's an introductory course. For those of you who have some basic knowledge about economics from secondary school, it's just to refresh your memory about what you have learned in secondary school and then impress further with a little bit of addition to what you have already learned in secondary school. I want to believe that everybody in this class has some form of formal knowledge or a little bit of knowledge about economics. And so, as a way of starting out, let me share with you the course outline. And then from there, we can move on to what it is we want to do for today. So that's our Eco, that's the course outline for Eco 101. I hope everyone can see it.
Yes, ma, we can see it.
Okay. I don't know how, if you scroll through the course outline, you will find out that we have quite a number of things to do. And I must say that we are behind time. But then the onus is on you students to do the needful. There are about 13 topics that we are expected to cover. Although, even if we were to have a physical interaction together, if not for the COVID, there's no way we would finish 13 topics for a semester. But as much as possible, we try to go beyond half. Having at the back of our minds that you all have the course outlines and you're going to read up whatever it is we could not cover. That's one. Two, if you also take a close look at the course outline, you will find that there are recommended texts that you can read on your own. Some of these texts, you can buy them from the university bookshop or any other good bookshop around your location, wherever you are. I do not expect that any of you will be around Ibadan because your interaction with us is online, except, of course, for people who live in Ibadan. And some of these texts you can also find online. If you search properly, you will find them. So for this course, I'm just going to brush through and assume that you would go and read the text on your own. If I come across anyone online, I will pass it on to the class rep to share with the rest of you. That's going to help you to read further and understand what is expected of you in this course. Now, if you look at the course outline, you're supposed to have class quizzes. Unfortunately, we will not be able to do that because we are online. So what I may just do is to give you assignments and then tell you when and how to submit it. Your final examination, as you already know, you will come in physically for that. Have you been told that? Can I get a response, please?
No, ma. No, ma.
No, ma.
No, ma.
When it is time, the university will tell you about that. And then we'll also work out a modality for mid-semester examination. We'll also work out a modality for how to conduct our mid-semester examination. May I warn all of you in this course? When I am speaking, looking at this from your phone, please have incoming calls. Please make sure as much as possible that when I am speaking, you do not have incoming calls, and that nobody makes unnecessary comments. Otherwise, you will have yourself to blame. Do not think that because it is an online course, you can do whatever you like and get away with it. We certainly have ways of fishing out the bad eggs. I will advise you in your own interest. Yes, Dorcas.
Ma, please, can you scroll? We can't see the whole course outline.
Oh, okay. All right.
Thank you.
And so I will advise everyone in your own interest, please pay as much attention to this course as possible. Is that okay? Good. So can you see now? I want to go away from this screen and start the business of the day. Dorcas, find a way of saving it and printing it, and then, or maybe everybody should find a way of saving it on whatever device it is you're using. Fine. So having said that, let's go to the business of today. And that is the first topic we have, which is thinking like an economist. When we say thinking like an economist, I know that some of the things that would readily come to mind would be that probably you are thinking of, maybe we're going to tell you how you're supposed to spend your money or what it is you're supposed to do with your money. No, that's not what we mean by thinking like an economist. When we say that you're supposed to think like an economist, you're supposed to look beyond the ordinary. You're supposed to think beyond the ordinary. You should be able to ask questions beyond the ordinary. And then you should also be able to project beyond the ordinary. Again, let me start by introducing the course to you. To me, economics is simply defined as a science that studies the decisions and behaviors of households and other economic agents in the society. I know that many of you have the textbook definition in your head. It's a science that studies scarce means, wants, and all that stuff. But really, if you read in between the lines of that definition, we are simply studying the behavior of decision-making units in the system. And those decision-making units are basically the households and other economic agents, which we refer to as the government, the firms, and the rest of the world. If you look at economics in totality, that's what we talk about on a day-to-day basis. How do households make their decisions of what to buy, what to wear, what to eat? Who does that for them? Where do they source for that? And then they begin to look at what are the resources that are available to them. As households make these decisions, government also makes decisions on behalf of households. Firms also makes decisions of what do we produce for households? How do we get it across for households? And so when I say that economics is simply defined as a science, I call it a science because we have our own methods and ways of analyzing issues in economics. We will get to that later. Now, since economics is the study of the behavior of economic agents in a society, it is important for the society to decide who gets what, for whom what is produced, and how do you go about producing it. And these questions give rise to issues that we refer to as economic problems. They are economic problems. Please, nobody should raise hand until the end of this class. No distraction, please. Keep whatever questions you have till the end of the class. So all of these issues and more that economic agents in society faces gives rise to what we call economic problems. And we know that some of these economic problems include ones, we have scarce resources, we have unlimited ones. Now, how do we make use of the scarce resources we have importance to you? You try as much as possible to solve all those first, and the ones that you feel are of less importance, you leave for another day. That way, you are able to distribute your scarce resources to solve important issues first, and then you move on. Now, I want you to understand that what is of utmost priority to Mr. A will be different from what is of utmost priority to Mr. B. So if our thing is to wear designer clothes and Mr. B's choice is to read his books, then that is Mr. B's own choice. Just as individuals have to make choices, so also does government have to make choices for the whole society. And at that level, it's a different ball game. So all of these and more, the issues of scarcity and choice, and so many other subtle and everyday issues form the basis for the study of economics. Now, like every other field of study, economics has its own language. Take, for example, in the sciences, they have their own language. In the arts and humanities, they have their own language. In so many other places, in the medical, whatever field, they have their own language. So like every other field of study, economics has its own language. Although we use a lot of the terminology in economics and we use economic language in our day-to-day interactions, but they certainly do connote a different thing from the meaning that we give to it when we talk to each other on a day-to-day basis. Economics has its own processes. It also has its own methods of delivery and its own way of thinking. In economics, we say that we are supposed to think strategically, you think presently, and then you think for the future. you should be able to project given what you're seeing